Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fallen London. In today's episode we are going to carry on with the Heretic of Hollow Street. So let's start off with this option at the top here. You're performing your morning ablutions, the mirror glass as foggy as the air outside your window. Just as you finish up, you realise that patterns are being traced hurriedly in the glass, as though by an invisible finger. It appears to be a message, though written backwards. A place, a time, nothing more, nothing less. Ooh, I wonder what that could be. So we can either attend the meeting, you dry your face and fetch your coat, or we can wipe away the mirror fog and ignore the invitation. It is exceedingly bad manners to invade someone's privacy while they are at their wash basin. Let's attend the meeting. The mirror directed you to a small, run-down theatre hall in Spite. As soon as you arrive, the carefully expressionless proprietor looks you up and down and hands you a ticket. A single, peeling poster over the main door declares, currently showing the surreptitious meeting, fully booked. You head to your balcony seat, overlooking an empty stage and empty stalls. After 5 long minutes, a man in spectacles with a top hat under one arm enters the hall. He sits beside you, carefully tucking his coattails to one side, and does not look your way. We are under the impression you do not realize what your current employer is attempting, says the gentleman, after a moment's silence. The barber is a madman, and his schemes will result in the deaths of his so-called friends. For the first time, the gentleman looks your way. His spectacles bathe you in a light like spoiled honey. If you have a conscience, you will sabotage your employer's plans. I can help you with that. So we can either agree to betray the barber when the time comes. A smile briefly touches upon the gentleman's lips. A tongue flicks eagerly from his mouth. Or we can refuse to sabotage your employer. The barber has suffered too many betrayals already. I am refusing. I'm not going to stab this man in the back. That's not how I roll. I'll probably live to regret it though. You are making a mistake, a terrible mistake. He presses a small, ornately decorated mirror into your hand. If you change your mind, look into the glass and ask for my help. He sweeps away, leaving you staring at an empty stage. Okay, well, I guess we'll spread the word of Gossett and Flogs. Thanks to your hard work, the barbershop on Hollow Street is attracting a regular crop of hirsute gentlemen seeking cheap, unremarkable haircuts. Finding customers who want their memories trimmed is a more complex matter. The barber has made it clear that your special services cannot become public knowledge, or the Ministry of Public Decency will descend on you both. And who knows what they would do with something like the razor. What can we do here? We can proceed with business as usual. You employ the entrepreneurial urchin, and for the special services you rely on word of mouth alone. You can approach ex-convicts from New Newgate. If anyone has something they'll want to forget, it's them, but they won't trust you lightly. You can scour the pubs. People drink for all sorts of reasons, some to forget. You could offer an easier path, but first you'll need to buy a few rounds. It's not too bad. Search Wolfstock docks for self-imposed exiles. Those who flee to Z do so because they want to leave their lives behind. You can help them leave their memories behind too. Let's just go for ex-convicts, I think. The latest batch of prisoners have completed their sentences and have been flown down from New Newgate. They spill from the station under the watchful eyes of the constables and mutter their goodbyes to each other before slouching off into the smog. You invite a group of them back to your lodgings for dinner, where you ask a simple question. Would they prefer to forget the sentence or the crime? One young lad asks, "What do you mean?" A faint tremor of hope in his voice, and you know you have him. When you reply, the others listen carefully. We have some customers. Let's go back to the Gossett and Flogs. The barber has retreated to his back office. The somnambulatory sweepers stand in the corner, upright and dosing as usual, leaning on their brooms. A pair of customers are waiting to have their hair cut. One of them is sitting and attempting to focus on a newspaper, while the other chats about politics. In the barber's back office, 3 fidgeting customers are waiting for a special cut. 2 of them seek to forget what they seek. The third wants to no longer remember a former name. The sodden rodent is sitting in the window with a bottle and a monocular, on the lookout for approaching danger. You have been assured that this is completely normal for a barbershop of good repute. So we apparently can still provide haircuts to your current crop of customers, so just normal haircuts. Or we can give special haircuts to your more discerning customers. Well, let's do special haircuts, considering that's kind of what we're here for, so let's try that. For the razor to work, each customer must tell you the memory they want gone. In most cases, this is no easy task. They find it painful to speak, you find it distressing to listen. Countless tales of suffering, sorrow, or guilt pass beneath your blade. As they talk, you guide the razor around their skulls. Your customer stares into the mirror, their voice slowing to a drawl, their gaze fixed unerringly on the razor's gleaming blade. You feel the faintest resistance as you cut through the air. There's some more reputation? Should we provide some haircuts as well? Let's do it. Why not? As you show each customer your handiwork, they seem genuinely pleased rather than begrudgingly accepting. You are now getting to grips with the job. After the day's final cut, the sweepers move forward with alarming speed and efficiency, brooms whirling. You wave the cheerful customer off, only to turn and find the barber watching you from his office. He gives you a single, solemn nod. You gained 1 reputation for gossip and flog. For every customer you attend, an extra 7 from the quality of your haircuts. So now we can deliver an advertising pamphlet to the celebrated chemist. I think this is one of the people that the barber wants to help. The barbershop has accrued enough speculation to intrigue even the most hardened cynic. The barber wants you to entice his old friend to visit. The chemist works all hours, it seems. He spends half his time in the laboratory at Benthic College, and the other half in the laboratory of his crumbling old mansion on Watchmaker's Hill. Green and yellow smoke belches from his chimney. Occasionally, his windows flash with sickly light. The mushrooms in his garden are black and withered. You slip a pamphlet through his letterbox. The barber has assured you that this will be enough. There is something, he says. The chemist is certainly desperate to forget. Okay, so we can prepare to cut the chemist's hair. Upon hearing the news, the chemist's arrival, the barber's expression turns stern. He flaps about the shop like a battered moth. The barber clears out all the other customers, ignoring their protests, and tells you that you can deal with the chemist on the shop floor, while the barber hides in the back office. Remember, says the barber hurriedly, he is to forget everything that happened in the Forgotten Quarter. The bell above the front door jangles. The barber is already vanished, the office door swinging shut behind him. We need to give a special haircut to the barber's old friend, the celebrated chemist. The man who walks into the barbershop is tall, sharply dressed, and handsome. His striking appearance is offset by a truly unfortunate smell. He smells like eggs and death, and the stench quickly makes itself at home. I heard you can cut memories away, says the chemist quietly, taking his seat before the mirror. I have one in particular I wish to be rid of. We can tell him what we need. In order for you to free him of his memories, he must speak them out loud. It happened during an expedition to the Forgotten Quarter, says the chemist, pausing to swallow with some difficulty. You open your carry case and remove your tools, the razor, the scissors. The chemist's gaze flicks to the razor. I hurt someone, he continues after a moment. A friend. He lapses into silence. When choosing questions for the chemist, pay attention to the icons. The razor will cut away his memory as he answers. The scissors will leave his memory intact. There may be consequences for cutting too much or too little. Okay, so the knife means we remove it. Scissors, apparently, even though they look like twin swords, means there will be not removed. So we can ask him about the friend he hurt. You raise the Nephtherian razor, ready to cut the memories away. You lift the exquisite scissors and begin to cut the chemist's hair. His memories will not be touched, or at least not yet. Let's ask about the friend he has. Let's just go in there, knife swinging. Chemist and the barber. He was just the kitchen boy. We were students at Benthic, with bright futures ahead, and at first we only let him keep our company because it amused us. Eventually, he became a true friend. We should have kept in touch with him after we graduated, of course, but he shrugged. Then, years later, he sent each of us a message. He offered us something irresistible. You cut the chemist's luxurious locks of hair and wait for him to continue. In retrospect, I should have never accepted his proposal, but I was weak and looking to advance my position within the university by any means possible. Oh dear, the chemist has fallen silent. He glances uneasily at the door. He appears to be having second thoughts. Now we can ask him what he's seeking in the Forgotten Corner. Or we can ask him if he's happy with his haircut. You put down the razor and the scissors and you ask him what he thinks of your progress so far. I don't seem to have forgotten anything, says the chemist gloomily. The pain is as fresh as it ever was. I should never have expected this to work. Okay, well, let's ask what they were seeking in the Forgotten Quarter. Let's use the razor this time. This is kind of the test, the guinea pig. The razor gleams dangerously in your hand. The chemist cannot avert his gaze from it. Knowledge, says the chemist. We learn the location of a buried temple in which could be found mirror secrets. Knowledge that had been lost to mankind ever since the fourth city's downfall. We were intrigued, of course. It sounded like a fine adventure. As he speaks, the razor slides through his memories. When we broke through the ceiling, we were expecting a library, perhaps stacks of scrolls. Instead, we found a hall of mirrors. An altar stood in the center, and upon it rested a pair of mirrored blades. We were told something about a sacrifice. The chemist pauses, frowning. What was I saying? It's on the tip of my tongue. But now we can ask about the sacrifice. Should we ask him if he's happy with his cut? Is he going to say the same thing again? I feel much better than I did this morning, says the chemist. I know I was racked with guilt about something, but I don't know what. Well, let's ask about the sacrifice. The razor has taken its share of memories already, but you're ready to slice away more. Do I need to? That's the question. Let's just go. Let's try. A sacrifice? The chemist shakes his head. I have no idea what you mean. You tell him what? Him that it happened during his expedition to the Forgotten Quarter. He just shakes his head. No, the expedition was quite uneventful. I've forgotten it entirely. You continue to wave the razor above his head, but encounter no tug of resistance. His memories of the Forgotten Quarter and the sacrifice that occurred there are already utterly gone. I cut away too early, that's what I did. He lost a friend, what did he receive in return? You wait for an answer with the razor poised. Let's just use the scissors. What sacrifice? Asked the chemist, frowning. He glares at his reflection in the mirror. Are we almost done? I'm beginning to regret coming here for a haircut and being bombarded by personal questions. Well, let's ask him if he's happy. I feel much better. Okay, conclude the cut. My mood is greatly improved since this morning, says the chemist, standing and shrugging into his coat. I can't remember what I was so upset about. When he is gone, the barber emerges from the back office, a smile on his face. Wonderful work, he says. I do believe you've saved my old friend from a lifetime of pointless guilt. He claps his maimed hands together with a grin. Next, you must deal with my friend, the surgeon. I hope you will be able to address his problems with the same manual and social dexterity. So we're going to need a reputation of 40 of gossip and flogged before you can deliver a pamphlet to the cloying surgeon. So we're going to have to spread the word. Let's go search Wolfstack Docks. Fog muffles the ceaseless lapping of the waves and the stevedore's cries. Travellers throng around crew members as they descend from their ships, bargaining desperately for cheap passage. You look for overflowing suitcases, you look for stacks of battered furniture, most importantly, you look for deep, harrowed faces and solitude. These are the travellers who do not intend to return. They're seeking an entirely new life. You offer it to them, and the hope in their eyes is heartbreaking. Let's go back to Gossett and Flogs. So let's give special haircuts to the more discerning customers. Same as before. Oh, we can already deliver an advertising pamphlet to the cloying surgeon. Half the city has heard the rumours about Gossett and Flog. It should be enough to intrigue another of the Barber's in erstwhile companions. The surgeon's address is an expansive townhouse on a quiet little lane. There appears to be a chicken coop in the garden, and a few children's toys. You slip a pamphlet through his letterbox. The barber has assured you that this will be enough. Just like the chemist, the surgeon is sure to be haunted by the guilt of his role in the barber's sacrifice. I want to know what happened. Prepare to cut the surgeon's hair. The rodent pulls at your ear. He's almost here. As before, the barber clears out the customers and vanishes into his back office. The bell above the front door jangles. The cloying surgeon steps into the barber shop, his deep-set eyes scanning you suspiciously. "I'm here to forget," he says, sitting down. His flesh is the colour and consistency of warm wax. His hair is so slick and greasy, he looks as though he was recently used to mop something up. You ask him what exactly he wishes to forget. "My career," he replies. "I want to forget the time I have spent as a surgeon to the royal family." Let's ask the barber. You make your excuses to the surgeon and retreat to the back office. You tell the barber that the surgeon is not, in fact, here to forget what happened in the Forgotten Quarter. He's here to forget his time working for the royal family. For a moment, a dark, furious look flits over the barber's face. He takes a deep breath and manages to smile. His time with the royals must have been truly awful, he says. You should help him forget that, but make sure he forgets the expedition to the Forgotten Quarter as well. So, he wants us to make him forget everything. But let's ask about the royal family. You snip away the greasy hair as he talks about the indignities he endured and the horrors he witnessed. The surgeon spent half a decade as a surgeon for the royals, and he retired with an inviolable pension and an incurable night terrors. He tells you in grim detail about his futile attempts to save the dutiful daughter as her flesh uncoiled from her bones. His equally futile attempts to prevent the tragic death of the progeny's nurse. When he has finished talking, he glares at you. "I don't seem to have forgotten anything at all," he says accusingly. "Is this some kind of scam? Were you fishing for royal secrets?" Let's ask him about his expedition. You casually drop a question about the Forgotten Quarter while the scissors snip away at his greasy locks. "Why are you asking me this?" asks the surgeon, his guard immediately up. "I never mentioned the Forgotten Quarter. I came here to forget the royal family. Nothing more, nothing less. What do you know about all that anyway?" He tears away his bib and stands up. "Something strange is happening here," he declares, turning to leave. "I don't trust this for a minute." Let's convince him there's nothing to worry about. It's all in his head, for the time being anyway. You wheedle, you flatter, you urge him to stop seeing significant in random coincidence. Eventually something you say strikes a chord. Fine. The surgeon sits back down, clearly against his own better judgment. But any more funny business, and I'm out of that door in a shot. Okay. He has 100 nervous questions. How long will this take? Is it dangerous? How dangerous? Does the ministry know about this? You answer the best as you can. If I try again, I bet you he'll leave. Okay, let's just go straight in with a knife. Oh, the surgeon's suspicious. "Something's happening here," says the surgeon, backing away from you. "You know too much about me, and I recognize those blades you're holding." The chemist behind this? The locksmith? Let's tell him the truth. This was the heretical barber's plan all along. When you tell the surgeon the truth, his face goes slack with horror. You mean to tell me the fellow is alive? He asks, aghast. I watched as that man was swallowed by a mirror, the coils of the things beyond the glass taking him in their embrace. The surgeon shudders at the memory. If he is back, he must be theirs. I have no desire to trifle with such things anymore. He turns and leaves without another word. The barber emerges from his back office frowning. Shouldn't have told him about me, he says. That wasn't the plan. Please, exercise more discretion next time. Okay. The usual rhythm of the barbershop has been rather disrupted by the arrival of a fearsome-looking tiger. The rodent must be drunk again. Your first warning is when the great striped cat lopes into the barbershop, followed by all your other customers running away. We are out of actions. Oh no. The distinguished tiger, is there any other kind, sits on its haunches and glares back at you hauntingly. I was expecting the other fellow, it drawls. The fellow with the minuscule spectacles. When you explain that the barber no longer cuts hair due to his maimed hands, the tiger chuckles as though you've cracked an excellent joke. You may take his place then, it says. Cut a single whisker, and I'll bite off your head. I decided I couldn't end the episode on such a cliffhanger, so I waited for the timer to tick down. Let's cut the tiger's hair. A delicate task by any measure. Luckily, we are guaranteed success. As you cut the tiger's hair, it relaxes and examines its claws. What happened to the other fellow's fingers then? It drawls. You explain in sparse detail. The expedition, the forgotten quarter. A smirk crosses the tiger's face. You know, I visited your barber when he was just an apprentice hairdresser. Fresh from the college kitchens, it says. Must have been a decade ago. It was I who told him the location of a temple in the Forgotten Quarter where all a man's questions could be answered. Just idle gossip, of course. When you're finished, the tiger admires itself in the mirror and drops a gleaming gemstone into your palm. Tell your master has my sympathies for the fingers, it says, strutting proudly out of the shop. A sapphire. How lovely. Well, since I'm out of actions, I will end the episode here. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated. Any insights or backgrounds or anything to do with the lore or anything, I love it. And as always, I'll see you next time.